Broke men make terrible partners. Was it mean or was it just the truth? You want struggle to be my goal for the future. Do you hear yourself? Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. And if you are in the US, happy Thanksgiving. Today's topic is going to be about money and family. So maybe this will make you thankful for the family you got, or maybe it won't. But everything is going to be included in the description. Let's go ahead and get into it. My dad died and left 3 million pounds to my younger brothers, 21 and 23. I got 0. Now, just for shits and giggles, I want to see how much 3 million pounds is in USD. Wow, almost 4 million USD. I didn't know. The rate must be changing because I didn't. Wow, that is crazy. Almost an extra million, 4 million USD. Okay. She said, my dad passed a few months ago and I learned today he left the whole roughly 3 million pound estate to my 2 younger brothers. I got nothing. The reason? I'm a woman and, quote, my future husband will provide for me, end quote. I'm 27 female, single, and nowhere near getting married. I worked hard to be independent and still got treated like I don't need support because someday a man might do it. My brothers aren't struggling, but they took it without a word. I feel gutted and angry that even in 2025, my worth to my own family was tied to some sexist idea that my imaginary future husband will care for me. Hoo-cha! My first thought would be talk to your brothers. Maybe they'll be willing to split it. Maybe they'll be willing to work something out. I mean, she says they took it with no, what did she say? She said they took it without a word, but maybe you can try to explain, reason with them. Otherwise, I feel like she could sue because I have seen cases where people like contest a will or inheritance, and for her to get 0, I think it would be different if there was actually a dollar amount that she got, but for her to just get 0 completely, I feel like she actually does have a case here if she really wanted to take it to court. So some comments, someone said under UK law, you might actually have a case. The Inheritance Provision for Family and Dependents Act of 1975 lets disinherited children challenge wills that don't make reasonable provision. If your dad really said your future husband will provide, that could help your claim. Seriously, cross-post this to Legal Advice UK and they'll point you in the right direction. Hopefully. I'm sorry for your loss, OP. I really hope you get your fair share of the inheritance here. OP responded, that's amazing. I had no idea the law might prevent something like this. I'm going to do some research about this and get some legal advice. Thank you so much. You have really given me hope when I was genuinely at the lowest I've ever been. Look, I would be too. 3 M's, 4 M USD, and I just don't get anything at all? You mean to tell me I could have a meal and I get nothing at all? That's really unfair and really quite crazy of her father to do. Another person said, I'm in the same situation as you. The thing that triggered me the most was the person takes it without second thoughts. Play as a nice person, but only when their benefit is not interfered. In my country, you are eligible to file a case on this. OP said, it's still early days, so I hope my brothers stand up for me. However, the comments above have offered me some hope that I have a path forward even if they don't. And then another person contacted a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. She said, it's crazy to me how someone can still have the idea that women are somehow less than men in 2025. You'd be surprised. But just over 1 month later, she said, I just wanted to share some good news after my last post. After many difficult decisions and advice from numerous kind people here, my brothers and I came to an agreement. We're splitting our dad's estate 3 ways equally. Once I calmed down and showed them how unfair it felt, they listened. We got some legal advice and found out there was actually a simple way to adjust things properly so everyone was treated equally. They both apologized and said they hadn't realized how hurtful it was at the time. Now, how you not realize? Well, they was probably so, excited about the money. They probably couldn't feel no other emotion. But I feel like I would immediately be like, wait, we got 1.5 and she got 0? That's crazy. But she said, now that everything's being sorted, I'll get my fair share too. I honestly can't thank everyone enough. If I hadn't written that post and read all your advice and support, I think I would have just accepted it and walked away with nothing. You gave me the push to speak up for myself, and it's made all the difference. Well, I'm happy she's getting something. Someone said, please have everything documented and in front of your legal representatives. Verbal promises and agreements are good to have, but not bulletproof. She said, thanks for the advice. My lawyer has taken care of all of this. Paperwork has been signed and funds are expected to be distributed in the next couple of months. Okay, period. Won a lottery, OP. I love to see it. Someone said, I remember your story. It was unfair of your father to treat you differently just because you're a woman. I'm glad your brothers were understanding and even apologized for something that wasn't their fault. They seem like good people. Some parents will do anything to ruin sibling relationships. Makes me happy to read it didn't work in your case. Having brothers on your side is priceless. OP responded, I thought this situation was going to break my family, but it showed me how strong it actually was. Someone else, it was disgusting. Your father excluded you from his estate because you're a woman. I'm glad your brothers realized how unfair that is and decided to split the estate with you anyway. That's the only fair thing to do. OP responded, the sexism in this family ends with him, and I am thrilled about it. Well, enjoy your cut. That was a short one. Next, I, 23 female, told my boyfriend, 25 male, that I won't get a job to make him feel less jealous of my financial situation. English isn't my first language, and I'm not good at writing, but I seriously need advice from people not connected to us. I have been dating my boyfriend for a little over a year now. We met through mutual friends and had a pretty usual relationship until now. It wasn't perfect, but we never fought much. He works as a manager in a restaurant while I'm still in university. His life was pretty difficult from the start since he grew up with alcoholic parents and not much support in general. Since day one, he had to work hard for even the most basic things. He couldn't allow himself to get higher education. He had to continuously work since he entered adulthood. I, on the other hand, have a big family that always supports each other. When I started going to university, they continued to financially support me. My parents help with the bills and give me some allowance. Grandparents, aunts, and uncles also often send things here and there. I'm on the campus for my lectures most of the time, but I also tutor 3 times a week, getting enough money from it for groceries. So she does work. I mean, not that she even has to, but from the title, she said her boyfriend wants her to get a job. She has a job. She's a tutor. And even if she didn't, she doesn't have to get one just to make you feel better. Yeah, so she uses her tutoring money for groceries. She said, I'm good at living below my means and saving, so I don't need that much cash. All that background is needed for you to understand where our conflict started. Around a month ago, my boyfriend started making little comments about my financial situation. He would say, it's nice to spend someone else's money, or you wouldn't survive if you had to work for all that money the way I do. Girl, unfortunately, you're gonna have to let this go. Broke men make terrible partners. Or not necessarily broke men, but men who are not happy with their situation, their current situation, make terrible partners. Until they are where they wanna be at in life, they will be mean to you. They will make comments like this. They will resent you, especially if you have it way easier than them, or you don't have to work as hard or whatever. Until he's at a place where he good, and even up until and after, he's not going to like you. This is the unfortunate truth, and I think you should just let it go. He already resents you as it is, and it's not gonna stop. Because presumably your family is going to keep being supportive of you, and he's going to keep not having supportive family. And, it's just not going to work. Anyway, yeah, he was saying side comments. She said, I immediately caught on to those comments, but I didn't think it would grow into something more. I thought that maybe he's just fussy because he's overworked. I tried to be understanding, knowing it must be difficult for him to work as much as he does. I proposed that maybe we should move in together. Girl, I hope you didn't do that. I proposed that maybe we should move in together. Where was I? Oh, to lessen the burden of all the bills on him. I even said that I can help him with some groceries from time to time. He called that insulting and said he could never agree to either of those ideas. Oh, phew. Ugh, good. She said, unfortunately, it got worse. It feels like almost every day we fight as he calls me lazy, a trust fund baby, or says that I don't know what real life feels like. He also started sending me random job listings, telling me to apply even though I don't have any time for those jobs. The biggest fight was yesterday. He came over to my home for dinner and while I was cleaning, started talking about another job listing. By that point, I was at my limit after seeing like 100th random job offer. I blew up at him, angrily telling him to stop telling me to get a job. That university is my job and my main focus. I must admit that I said some mean things along the lines of, "You only want me to get a job because you're jealous of my situation and my family support." I mean, was it mean or was it just the truth? She said he stormed out and doesn't really talk to me now. He sends short messages back, but he doesn't pick up his phone. I tried apologizing, but he tells me that he needs time to think everything through. Was I truly that harsh? How do I make him see my point? Or maybe he has a better point and I should deny my family support, filling up my schedule to the brim with university and work. Is there even a way for us to reconcile? Please help. This is my first serious relationship and I don't want to mess it up. Girl, mess it up. Mess it up. You've learned a very, very valuable lesson. How long have y'all been together? A little over a year. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much time. You know, I think you're only 23 and you learned a very, very valuable lesson. A broke man can never be happy in a relationship. Don't date broke men. Don't date men who are not happy with their situation. Yeah. Hold on, there's a difference. If you want to date a broke man, that's up to you. But don't date a man who's not happy with his situation. He can be broke and happy. He might be broke and happy. But if he's unhappy with his situation, everything else, you will be miserable. He will make you miserable. Misery loves company. He will try to bring you down to feel the way that he feels. He will hate himself, and in turn, he will hate you. Especially if you don't hate yourself and you're not struggling. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to let this go. First relationship, don't even get in another relationship till you like 27. Just date around. Don't get a boyfriend after this. Just date around. See what's out there. Don't be rolling around on the mattress now. Just date around, see what's out there. Someone said he's seeing you succeed and wants to bring you down to his level. Don't allow it. I also don't think this is the man for you. If he feels bad about you helping with groceries, how will he feel when you have a university degree and will earn more than him? Opie responded, that's actually a really good point. I'm not studying something that will make me extremely rich, but it is the kind of degree that will allow me to live a very comfortable life. Thank you for giving me something to think seriously about. Someone else said, there's a lot of context missing, but it depends on how long that you have left at university, if you've ever had a job before, and what your plans are after university. I'm surprised to see the comments so one-sided. Wait, I don't understand what other context would make this situation make sense. He's resentful of her because she doesn't have to work as hard as him. Point blank, period. What other context do we need? Why do we need to know how long she has left at school? Why do we need to know if she's ever had a job before and what her plans are after school? Those are all irrelevant things. They say, while you are very lucky to be in the position where you can focus 100% on university and not have to do weekend shifts, a lot of business acumen is earned through work experience, not university. If you finish and have no work experience to speak of in your mid-20s, that might not work in your favor. But let's not pretend that that's what the boyfriend's goal is here, because it's not. He literally was telling her, you wouldn't survive if you had to work for all that money the way I do. What part of that says, no, I just really want you to work so that you can get the experience and have business acumen for when you go into the workforce? What part of that says that? Now, let's be fucking for real. Come on now. Then this comment also says, the way your boyfriend is handling the situation is quite passive-aggressive, but he still has a point. If you want a future together, it might be important to him that you have a good work ethic. At the end of the day, it's clear he wants you to get a job for your own benefit since he turned down your offer about helping him with groceries. I also disagree with that point. She works. She's a tutor. She tutors 3 days a week and does university full time. What more do you want her to do? You want her to purposely struggle just to prove to you that she has good work ethic? How does that even make sense? What are we saying here? That is dumb as hell. oh, he just want to make sure you got a good work ethic. No, he don't. People are so stupid. OP responded, I would love to try and answer the questions you asked to try and add some context. I started my final year of university, so I should be done with it by June next year. I didn't add this to the post as it felt important, but I did work in the past. Although I always knew that my family would support me because that's the kind of people they are, I wanted to put something from me into it all as well. I worked during high school. Each month I saved most of it and gave a small part of it to my parents as symbolic rent. It wasn't anything special, mostly cleaning after hours or doing paperwork stuff, but it's still something that will help my resume look less empty. If everything goes well, I already have a job to start in after university. The place I did an internship in as part of my studies really liked me, and for now really wants me to join them when I finish studying. I really want to see this person's response to this, because everything that they said, she had an answer for. She's already worked. She has work ethic. She was gonna be fine when she leaves. She has resume experience. So now what else you got to say? Hater. Someone else said he's jealous and taking it out on you. You offered support and he doesn't know how to accept it. This isn't your fault, OP. Don't take this unhealthy reaction as truth. Find someone who celebrates, not berates you for having family support. And also, him moving in was never going to be the solution. So I'm glad he said no, but I don't believe in that approach, because I feel like it will make the situation even worse, because all it does is buttress the viewpoint that he already has. It's like, oh, so now you don't work, your family gives you everything. Now you want me to live here rent free. Now I got to see you over here not having to work to pay rent. Now I'm in the house with you having to witness this firsthand. Now I'm feeling bad about myself because I got to move in with my girlfriend because I'm struggling. You know, I don't think that's a good idea. Now, if he was where he wanted to be and then y'all wanted to move in, you know, or if y'all were already living together and he fell on hard times, then obviously, you know, you guys can support each other until he get back on his feet. But to try to pull him up out of his situation, me personally, I don't think that's a good idea. So update 9 days later. A lot of the comments advised me to break up, but I couldn't just do that. I wanted to at least try and talk it out, foolishly hoping that suddenly we would find common ground and fix everything. A few days after the fight, he finally called me to set up a meeting to discuss everything. Between the fight and the setup meeting, I've been looking for some solution myself. Per advice on here and from my in real life friends, I tried looking for some outside support and I researched some well-rated but cheap therapists around the area. When we finally met, he was the only one who really wanted to speak first. He told me that he appreciated that I gave him a few days of space to think things through. Then he said that he hates to do it to me, but he needs to give me an ultimatum. If I want to stay with him, I need to find a job and cut financial support from my family by the end of the month. Now that is just asinine. That is just dumb as hell. And this is what I mean. You can't be in a relationship with a person who is unhappy with their situation, because they will try and get you to be just as unhappy as them. They want you to be on the same level as them. Because how does that make sense? If her family is willing to support her and help make her university experience smoother, why would she willingly tell them no? Why would she willingly put herself through struggle to be with you and to make you happy? It's not making sense. He done pissed me off, and I haven't said that in a while. That is so stupid. She said, I could see that there was no but in the world that could sway him to change that choice for him. I didn't even have a chance to mention the help that I'd been researching, kind of freezing for a moment instead. It might sound silly, but I've never experienced love disappear as quickly as it did in that moment. I didn't even know that's possible. His words broke whatever charm he had and made me see that ultimatum for what it truly was. His attempt at managing my life to match whatever idea he had in his mind. All the comments from here flooded my mind as I realized that all of you were correct. Sorry for even doubting you. I broke things off immediately. I wish I could say that I told him something smart or cheeky, but I literally just said that I'm done and left, tearing up the whole way back home. He called and messaged me a lot since, saying that maybe we can discuss things, that it doesn't have to be an ultimatum, but a goal for the future. So you want me to... Now, wait a minute. You want me to create a goal for the future to struggle. You want struggle to be my goal for the future. Do you hear yourself? She said, I don't think there's a way of fixing things. I'd be lying if I said I don't have any love left for him. It was my first serious relationship that I thought might genuinely last, but now it turned into my first serious breakup. Things are a bit difficult now as I grieve the idea of my first love, but I know that it'll get better sooner or later. Your advice in the last post was pretty helpful and gave me lots to think about, so I'd like to ask you for one more piece of advice. If you were me, what would you tell mutual friends in a situation like this? I'm already getting asked by our friends about what exactly happened, but I'm worried that if I tell them the truth, this whole drama will continue and people will be talking about it, and I won't be able to emotionally rest from the situation. I'm tempted to just tell them it was a mutual breakup or something and just be done with it all and leave it in the past. Don't lie. Don't lie to protect this brokie's feelings. Tell them the truth. Tell them exactly what he wanted you to do. He wanted you to have a goal to struggle. Literally, a goal to struggle. And then if you really just want to emotionally rest, let them know, hey, this is a situation. Don't really feel like getting into it right now. I'm taking some time to process, I just want to let you know. And when I'm ready, I'll circle back. That should be enough. That is insane. Stop getting support from your family. Get a job. What? And I say that as someone who had no support. I would have loved if I could have had somebody give me money through college and all that. Yeah, I had to work. I had no car and 2 jobs, okay? I was grinding. I was out there doing whatever I could. And even still, like, why would I tell this girl to struggle if she has help? That's crazy. Somebody said the fact that he tried to take it back after you said okay says everything. He absolutely is trying to just control you, and he didn't think you'd actually walk. Now he's trying to scramble back. Someone else, he has an idea in his head of what OP is allowed to get in life, what blessings she's worthy of, and he will make sure that she will not exceed the joy and success that he feels she's allowed to have. He's deliberately sabotaging her out of frustration for his own situation. This is what mental illness looks like. OP needs to stay far away from him. Someone else, so basically he tried to force you to behave by threatening to break up, overestimated the power of that threat, and is now backpedaling. In my experience, friends will of course talk about it with each other, but discounting the first days of, I've heard what happened, I'm so sorry, they tend to not bring it up by themselves. They should also respect if you say that you'd like to talk about a happier topic. I can't believe it. There's no additional update, but that is crazy. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, if there's anything you don't take from this video, I'm really serious about that. Do not date, and this is for men or women, do not date people that are not happy with their life situation. Again, if you're already dating and then things happen, that's different and you can like work that out, whatever. But if you start dating and they already are in a position where they're not happy with where they are at in life, it is not going to work out. I promise you. I can say with 100% certainty, it is not going to work out long term. Misery loves company, and or misery loves to take advantage. So go ahead and try it if you want to, and you start to see your accounts dwindling and the happiness and the light leaving from your eyes. Okay, I'm telling you. The next story, am I the a-hole for not paying for all of my cousin's children's activities just because I'm paying for one? Due to hard work, but also a lot of luck, my husband and I are fairly well off, while many of my family members are struggling financially. They're not going hungry, just having to cut corners. I am an only child, but have a very large extended family, and I grew up close to many of my cousins. One cousin's son has been swimming since he was 4, and swimming is basically his life. He's 15 and swims for his high school, but has also been swimming with a club for many years. His parents have scrimped to make this possible. There is a lot of travel involved, and now, apparently, even his suits, technical suits I think they're called, are hundreds of dollars, and he needs these for the championship meets. Basically, it's expensive and they can no longer afford it. His coach is eager to waive the club fees to keep him in swim, but he can't cover all the related costs. I've offered to pay for all of his swim expenses. He is good and he is dedicated. He practices around 16 hours a week, getting up at 5 a.m. many mornings. That is actually very impressive, especially being that he's in school. So school is school 8 hours a day? It's been a while since I've been in high school, but I think it's somewhere around 8 hours a day. Hold on. Oh, 6 to 7 hours. Let's say 7 hours. So you in school 35 hours a week and then swimming 16 hours a week on top of that. That's more than most adults work in a 5-day period. That's more hours than most adults work in a normal week. So that is he's showing a lot of dedication. They say he has an excellent chance of getting a scholarship to a D1 school. He is already getting attention from coaches. The problem is he has 3 siblings who also participate in activities, and my cousin is stopping those due to financial concerns as well. And I have several other cousins with whom I'm even closer to who are in similar positions. Deaton's parents have graciously accepted my offer, but my aunt said that if I'm going to pay for Deaton to keep his sport, I need to pay for his sisters to keep dance, cheerleading, and art as well. Now that is just crazy. See, you give somebody an inch and they take a goddamn mile. They say another cousin also says that I shouldn't pay for one of my cousin's child's activities without paying for hers too. I have about 30 first cousins. I can't pay for everyone. I could possibly be the a-hole because I guess it isn't fair. And I know these other children enjoy their sports and activities too, and it could look like favoritism, but I think I'm probably not the a-hole. So far, the others aren't near anywhere as talented or as serious about their extracurriculars as Deaton is, and his will almost definitely land him a college scholarship. Now look, the fact that we even gotta come on this here Beyonce internet and ask these types of asinine questions. How are you gonna tell me how to spend my money? I'm doing you a favor. I'm trying to make sure your son succeeds and he get in D1 and he get to still do his stuff. And now it's, well, if you pay for him, you got to pay for this and this and that. I got to. I don't got to do nothing. Actually, let's remember, I was doing this out of the kindness of my heart. I don't think they're in the wrong at all. Especially because, I'll say, given the fact that all of the other it's not just them trying to keep him in an activity. It's them trying to make sure he has the best chance of succeeding because he has already shown dedication and ability in this specific sport. It's not just like, oh, he wants to swim for fun. Yeah, let me pay for it. It's I'm trying to help invest in his future so he can continue. Not, oh, well, they want to do dance and cheerleading. Got to pay for that too. Now, I would understand if they were also equally as dedicated and equally as talented in those areas, but it doesn't really seem that that's the case. And again, why are we telling people how to spend their money? Somebody said, not the a-hole, but why did anyone outside of Deaton's parents need to know that you were doing this? OP responded, because my family has a collective big mouth. Deaton's sisters complained to their grandma, who then reached out to me and apparently others as well, and I'm sure the whole family knows by now. I come from a very small town. Someone else, you are not paying out of favoritism, you are investing in his future. Tell anyone who complains that they are welcome to pay for X to do Y if they want. Your investment in your nephew is probably only going to be for 3 years. You can support another child with potential by then. OP responded, this is the way I see it. This is going to help him succeed in the future. Not many of my cousins or their children have been able to attend college, and this is his chance. Someone else, not the a-hole, it sounds like your aunt just volunteered to pay for everything for everyone else. OP responded, I wish, but she's in worse financial shape than my cousin. And then another comment, it's quite reasonable to pay for a talented athlete's training, but not others. It's a shame. What should have remained private didn't, but these things happen. OP responded, if I thought it over more before making the offer, I probably could have handled it better. It just didn't occur to me that others would be hurt. I'm not so much concerned about what the parents think, but I don't want the kids thinking I like Deaton more than the others. Someone else, you're the a-hole. You've chosen a golden child and you're creating an incredibly unfair and unequal dynamic amongst the siblings. It might not seem like a big deal to you, but I can assure you those other kids will not forget how you've made them feel. I don't agree. I agree that the situation could potentially get misconstrued. And in that case, if some conversations needed to be had in order to provide clarity, then okay, we can do that. But at the end of the day, they're not picking a golden child. They're, like the other person said, investing in this child's future. They see the potential and they see the work ethic and they see the dedication that is already there, the foundation that is already laid, and they're building upon that. They're not going to the beach to build sand castles that will wash away. Update 10 days later. I had a talk with Deaton's parents over the weekend and we worked things out. It turns out they could easily afford their daughter's activities without Deaton's expenses. It's just that he recently became qualified to swim in national meets and the cost was going to become prohibitively expensive. In the past, they've been able to drive to all his meets, even if sometimes they had to pay for a hotel, but now it's going to get much more expensive and they just can't afford it, and they thought it would be more fair to just cancel activities for all of their children. So I'm going to cover all of the swimming expenses and the girls can keep their dancing, cheerleading, and art. According to the parents, their oldest daughter is a bit nosy and looked through their budget ledger and put it together how much was being spent on Deaton compared to her and her sisters. She told her sisters, and now they all feel they should get more. Better clothes, phones, etc. Now, if y'all don't get out of grown folk business, you weren't even supposed to be in that damn ledger. Talking about, so now we should get better clothes, The money is not even there to begin with. Let's remind you. The money is not there, ma'am. But now you demanding more things because you done seen how much things cost. It's not their fault the swimsuits cost, the technical swimsuits cost $100 a pop. That's not their fault. But I feel if the parents are putting equal effort into supporting the daughter's activities as they are putting into supporting Deaton's activities. And when I say support, I mean like showing up to meets, helping them practice, etc., etc. The monetary amount is not really at play because, like they said, the technical swimsuits cost hundreds of dollars. A cheerleading swimsuit might cost $50 or something like that. So you can't compare the two. If they're both being supported equally in that they both have what they need to do the activities that they want to do, I feel like that's the most fair thing. But you can't. And now they talking about some clothes, phones. You don't need no damn clothes and phones. She said the youngest wants an expensive iPad for her art. They said basically they think their parents should be spending as much on each of them as they spend on their brother. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but regardless, things can be a lot more fair as to how their parents allocate their money for their children now that Deaton's swimming isn't eating up a large chunk of it. To be honest, the girls just sound a bit greedy to me, but it may just be that their feelings are hurt that their brother was getting more and they are just children after all. Yeah, at the end of the day, they really are just children. Like I said, they need to be in that damn ledger. Why are you in the budget ledger? Are you paying bills? No, get out of there. They said it turns out most of our large extended family that knows about this and has any opinion at all is in favor of Deaton continuing with swimming at all costs, and some even offered to pitch in what they could to make it happen. That isn't necessary, and these people don't have any more than Deaton's parents, so it's not up to them to make it up to Deaton's sisters that more is being spent on him. It's really just the grandmother and one of her daughters, the kids' aunt, who are the troublemakers. The grandma thinks all the kids should be treated the same by their parents, and if anyone other than their parents is going to help any one of them, they should all get equal treatment. So again, I agree with equal treatment completely, but equal treatment doesn't always mean equal money. OP also says the aunt has a daughter who has just gotten into pageants, and I think this is a lot of where this is coming from. They have just started to realize how expensive pageants are, and both the grandma and the aunt think that if I'm going to pay for Deaton's swimming, I should also pay for Kaylin's pageant expenses. I don't see the same value in buying $500 fancy dresses for a 4-year-old as I do in supporting a future college athlete, so I'm not going to do that, and they're angry with me. They have some family members tentatively on their side, I think by sheer coercion, but I can handle that. So you want me to... Now, anyway, they say I come from a huge family and not everyone is going to agree with everyone else all the time. In fact, there is never a time when we're all in agreement over anything. But the most important thing is that Deaton gets to keep swimming and his sisters get to keep their activities as well. I imagine this will all blow over eventually. Someone said the girls aren't being greedy, they're hurt. Their parents have been spending more time and money on their brother for years. They knew about the time, but seeing the money in stark detail can be upsetting. Now, let me pause here because I don't know if they've been spending more time. That was never mentioned. So I feel like for this person to say that is like an assumption, but they could be right, but it sounds like an assumption to me. They saying just because he's good at 15 doesn't mean he's getting a D1 scholarship. A lot can happen in the intervening years: injuries, odd growth, loss of interest, etc. Now, why are they putting the bad juju on the boy? Yes, a lot can happen, but a lot less can also happen if you don't give him the tools to succeed. What are you even saying here? Please. Sometimes the critical thinking is just not there. Anyway, the comment continues. It is pretty crappy of you, their parents, and the family to rally around a single teenage boy rather than making sure there's even a passing glance at equality. I'm sure sexism plays no part in this. Why aren't you calling a kid who wants to spend thousands on swimsuits and travel while monopolizing his parents' time greedy and selfish? Don't agree with that comment. OP responded, it does sort of sound like the main focus of the family is Deaton and his swimming, but that really isn't the case. The parents spend just as much time with and focused just as much attention on their daughters as they do their son, and they are just as supportive of their interests. It's just that Deaton's swimming costs more financially. And that's exactly what I was getting to. That's exactly what I was saying. The amount of support doesn't always mean amount of money. So as long as they're putting up the same amount of support for their other kids, I feel like that is what makes it fair. Now, if you go away every weekend at Deaton swim meets, never missing, never going to your daughter's swim meet, never going to your other daughter's art exhibit and all that stuff, I would feel like that is unfair. But if they're spending as much time and attention to their daughter's stuff as his, then why are we complaining here? Come on. OP also said, I only think the girls come off as slightly greedy to me because they're thinking that if X amount of money is being spent on swimming, then they want the same amount spent on them. I would understand if they thought it should be divided equally, but they think they should all get that. And they want things like clothes and makeup, which are not important to me, so maybe my own values are clouding my judgment. I do think they're just kids who want what they want. My own kids act kind of greedy sometimes, and I think it's pretty normal. People are really upset about the greedy comment. Someone else said, you can spend whatever you want on your nephew, but calling those young girls greedy because they also want to pursue things that they like but can't because the golden child is getting more attention and help is kind of rude. Not the a-hole for spending on your nephew, but you're the a-hole for diminishing your niece's feelings. OP responded, but they don't want to pursue things. They want clothes and makeup and upgraded cell phones. And he is not getting more attention at all and isn't the golden child. If anyone is the golden child, it's the second daughter, the one who takes art lessons because she was sick a lot when she was young and tends to get more of the attention still. And the oldest, the cheerleader, is very outgoing and personable and also gets a lot of the attention. I do feel a little bad for the youngest. She seems to get less attention just because she's very quiet and doesn't seek it. Deaton is a lot like her, personality-wise. So now we get even more context. This person, I think they're agreeing. They said there is a difference between spending money in an activity that the kid is putting time and dedication to and getting money for makeup and clothes. Dance and cheerleading can get just as expensive if they're doing it competitively. If they weren't willing to spend as much traveling for cheerleading for one of the girls doing that competitively, that would be an issue of inequality. The parents were wrong for considering stopping the other kids' activities completely to prioritize swimming, which, pause, I don't think that was true. I think they were considering stopping all of the kids' activities completely, including the swimming. People don't read. Here he says it right here. People do not read or comprehend. He said, or they, I don't know if this is a male or a female. Now it's getting to get much more expensive and they just can't afford it. And they thought it would be more fair to just cancel activities for all their children. Never once did he say they was going to cancel the activities for all the other children except Deaton. They did not say that. They were going to cancel everything across the board. Just make it fair. Nobody does anything. See, reading is fundamental. Anyway, so this person talking about the parents are wrong for considering stopping the other kids' activities completely to prioritize swimming, which is not true and not what they said. And they said, but with OP taking the extra burden off, they can continue, and maybe one of the kids can put the type of effort into their activities that would make a large monetary investment needed. OP responded, yeah, the dancer has one lesson a week and the cheerleader cheers for her high school, not competitively. If either were competing competitively, it would be a whole different ball game. If any of the others ever does get seriously involved in a sport or activity to the point where they needed more financial support, I'd be happy to help. Anyway, there's a lot of other comments of people talking about the treatment of the girls and stuff like that, and about how Deaton needs to know where the money is coming from so he can basically pay it forward, etc., etc. If you'd like to read, you can either look at the screen or you can go to the link in the description and find the story on Reddit. But I'm done with this story. I'm gonna go to the palate cleanser. Palate cleanser for today is this video I saw on Instagram of this young lady. It looks like she might be like a Spanish speaker or something like that. And the caption on the video says, I'm learning English by myself, with like a happy crying, like a happy eye glistening smiling emoji. And on the text on screen says, this is definitely going on my list of the top 10 times I felt fluent in English. So hold on.
I'm from my house looking at my kids. They are playing football. No, they are playing soccer. Because Watch out the car! Watch out the car! Watch out the car!
She's so happy.
It's passing. It's passing.
She's so happy with herself.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So okay. I can't anymore. Okay. I forget now what I will say. I forget. Sorry.
Não, mas isso daí é deles. A gente tá a caixa cheia.
I am so happy.
Não, mas isso daí é deles. A gente tá...
I am so happy.
That is so cute. So I think what was happening was she was making a video to practice her English. And while she was making the video, she saw the car coming while her kids were playing. So she was like, watch out for the car. Well, she said, watch out the car. But, you know, she's still practicing. So she got so happy with herself because of that. I thought it was so cute. And it reminded me I need to do my language lessons. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.